Space, the last place untouched by capitalism.
Space!
I like space, which feels like a very basic thing to say. Who doesn't like space? It's got, stars and blue. Blue's the best! It also has aliens! As a big fan of sci-fi and space operas, I've always been inspired by franchises such as Star Wars, Star Trek, and most recently, The Orville. And by inspired by, I mean I literally steal every idea I've ever had from them. Being an artist is great. Might as well call my bitch ass ChatGPT, because I haven't had an original thought in a decade. With this in mind, I've always wanted to create a cast of characters for a show or comic taking place within a science fantasy setting. So I've basically stolen my husband's writing for an original universe called Ios. He's been working on it for literally over a decade, and there's so much rich lore and world building, which means it's ripe for the picking. I'm gonna steal it all! Realistically, I'm not going to commit a plagiarism. I just feel inspired by his world, and I'm gonna take some character designs that I created for it, since I draw all of his character art, and tweak them just a bit. You know, slightly to the left. And that means these designs will be technically original, because I designed them in the first place. So I wanted to start with my main baby girl, Estelle. She was an older OC of mine, with some, interesting art. I have some ideas for her already. Teal color theme, short hair, and some kind of engineer. It makes a pretty good starting point. And yet, I struggled so much with this. The pose was fucking killing me. And then there was also a million other thoughts going on in my head. Like, with lore. Is she an engineer still? Does she work on a ship? What ship is she on? Thoughts like this were just exploding into my brain, and I knew I wouldn't be able to create a proper character design without setting out some rules for the world first. Essentially, I was getting absolutely nowhere fast. I don't even know what kind of story I would be having these characters go through in this universe. I mean, there's significant tonal differences between something like Star Trek and Star Wars. You have a diplomatic space mission versus overthrowing a tyrannical government. Those two franchises have very different character designs for that reason. So I mulled over potential lore ideas, and I kept coming back to the idea that I love stars. So, star motif. It works out because stars are everywhere in space. I mean, it's space. Which, amazing. It gives me such a good foundation to work with. We need a story about stars. What if something happened to the stars? The literal light of the galaxy. What if it was... Oh! What if the light was being sucked out of the stars and they were vanishing? Now we're cooking with motherfucking gas. Let's go. So, we need a character that's going to be connected to this main conflict of the stars disappearing. What kind of job would you need in space involving stars? That sounds cool as hell. A celestial cartographer, let's go! We're talking star maps, baby! So now that there's an actually decent foundation here, I can start to build this character, which is going to influence how she looks. She's a celestial cartographer, which means she's going to be plotting the points of stars on maps. If you're deep into the Star Wars lore sauce like I am, you'll know that hyperspace routes are actually predetermined routes between planets, so that way you don't crash into anything. I'm still leaning definitely more into science fantasy with these thoughts, so what if there was something similar, like ley lines? If we're going with science fantasy, why not just add magic? And if you need a pathway, ley lines. And then also that way I can make the ship powered by magic, which is cool as hell, let's go! I'm also going to make her very passionate about her job and energetic, which is going to influence, her pose and expression and how she styles herself. She adores her job and the freedom that comes with it, but also just the science side of stars and navigation. I imagine she adores that stuff, and if you ask her about anything relating to it, she will gladly talk for hours while you just sit there, yeah, sounds cool. And she will just go and go and go. She is very, very passionate about her job and will tell you everything there is to it if you're willing to listen. In terms of her outfit, I'm stepping away from the idea of a formal uniform that her and the other characters would wear. Instead, there's just like these little star badges, the motif, that represent the rank and department. It gives me a lot more creative freedom with the designs, and honestly, I just wanted an excuse to give her some thigh game without making it an absolute rule violation. I'm also giving her tall, chunky high heels to wear, because I imagine she's short, like 5 foot nothing short, so she wears these high heels to seem a little taller. How does she run in them? I don't know, space magic. I also decided to scrap the teal color theme for something more star-like. Blue, yellows, purples, black, and some silver for some interesting contrast. And then I started my favorite part, the rendering. I love shading and adding detail to drawings like this. It's easily like the best thing for me. I can just go to town, turn off my brain, and go. But after a while, I really started to struggle with this, and it's not normal for me to do that. I think I was just in a weird period artistically, so I sat it down and walked away for a few days. And wouldn't you know it, 2 days turned into 2 months. So I finally came back to finish this drawing, and what I got when I opened it was quite the shock. Like, Jesus Christ kind of shock. This thing's fucking nasty. What the hell? Why did I do it like this? Why? This looks like ass. And when you fucked up your rendering this bad, you really don't have anything left to do besides restart. So I deleted all of my shading, as much as it hurt me, and I started over again. On the plus side, 2 months is a long time if you're constantly drawing, and it's a huge period of artistic growth. Let's go! So I actually had something decent to replace it with. The new workflow is nice. I like doing this kind of shading a lot more, and I think it really shows. And with the shading out of the way, I have finally finished Estelle. Oh my god, thank Jesus. I was not expecting to struggle this much with it, but I'm glad she's done. After adding a simple background and some final touches, here's the finished Estelle. She's short, loves to fight, eats a lot of junk food, and watches those very satisfying rug cleaning videos. Since I watched 2 months of my life fly away before my eyes, how about we just take a pause and talk about today's sponsor? This week's sponsor is me! So hi, I'm Ash, it's nice to meet you. I like doing art and making videos, but unfortunately that shit costs money. And I would love to have a lot more time to do this kind of stuff, but I am unfortunately a normie wage slave when I'm not on camera. You know how it is. So if you want to support me for free, you could help me feed the YouTube algorithm. I mean, that's nice. I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers so that way I can maybe start monetizing the ads in my videos. So, you know how it is. Like, subscribe, comment, that sort of deal. I mean, I'm not your mom and I'm not your boss. I'm certainly not a cop. So, I mean, do whatever you feel like. But if you're enjoying this so far, consider it. But if you've got some spare change and are just absolutely enraptured by my incredible personality, I do have a Patreon for recurring donations. I don't have any Patreon exclusive content. I don't like putting my stuff behind a paywall. So it's literally just a tip jar. A recurring monthly tip jar that you don't have to manage or think about. Or if you want something more one time, I do have Ko-fi? I mean, I usually call it Ko-fi because it's cooler. But, the thing. The thing where you buy me a cup of coffee? Yeah. Links to both of these are going to be in the description. If you got a few bucks, some spare change in your couch, just throw it my way. If you want me to actually work for my money instead of just e-begging, I also offer commissions. Throw me some money and I'll draw whatever nasty ass shit your little heart desires. Boobs, cock, furry, I don't know. I cannot judge, and I don't have any room to throw stones at you from the highest window of my glass house. But, it helps me out a ton, and I can draw like your OCs or your favorite characters, doing or being literally anything. Thank you so much for listening to my tiny ad break. It does mean a lot to me, like honestly, truly. So thank you for listening. I'm pulling you in right now and I'm kissing you on the mouth with tongue. Now that we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, now part 2, or rather, I guess, the second design for this series, because that's going to get confusing quickly if I just call it part 2, because there's going to be like an actual part 2. I don't know. The captain of the Starship, that's what we're doing. So, you know how I mentioned that I did the character designs for my husband's universe? Well, one of them is for a Elvon, or, space elf. But I'm really fond of it, I really like it, and I'm going to use that for the basis of my ship captain. Might as well call me environmentally conscious, because this bitch is about to reduce, reuse, and recycle. So I just started with kind of like a basic body for a humanoid male character, made him tall, broad shoulders, slutty waist, and then I gave him large spines, like big ol' spikes on his shoulders, and then also coming out of his calves. I really wanted him to have a unique silhouette compared to the other characters, so I gave him this very long ponytail to kind of stand out and give the whole design some more cunt. Work, bitch! The jacket and underclothes were also pretty simple. I didn't want to distract too much from his alien features, so I gave him kind of plain clothes. For some extra visual flavor, I decided to make him holding his magic. I don't know, I didn't work too far into it, but I do know that he uses photomancy, which is going to be light manipulation. Staying on theme with like the whole overarching investigating why the stars are disappearing because their light is being snuffed out kind of deal. Tying it back together with a nice bow. I made it more of a pink, magenta, purple kind of deal. I don't know, I thought it went nice with his colors though. But the colors on this one absolutely fucked me up. The blues were just not the vibes. So I threw that bitch into the hue slider and just ended up with this green goblin adjacent creature of a man. Lots of greens, lots of purples. I love it. It's really weird and almost kind of gross. I don't know. The green came out really good. It kind of just reminds me of the stock standard, like Roswellian alien design. Green, big head, big black eyes. It's that shade of green. I love it. For the captain's overall character, I just decided to straight up lift his name from my husband's universe. So his name's Arendar. As far as being a captain goes, he's very new in the field, still earning his stripes. So he faces a lot of scrutiny from his superiors about it. He really wants to prove himself, but the rest of his crew certainly make it difficult for him. He's in love with the ship's pilot though, so good for him. So, I've done 2 out of my 4 planned designs on this, and I have spent far too long on this project. I looked at my total time for the raw footage, and I felt the soul leave my body. So, as a result, I'm going to split this up into parts 1 and 2. So, expect a sequel here in the future. I'm going to be finishing 2 more designs for this. I have an actual engineer who's going to be an alien, and then I have the ship's pilot. So, if you like what you see so far, or if you've just fallen madly in love with me, which, understandable, come back, subscribe, do the thing. Do the thing that will let you know when I do the thing. Everybody wins. I'd also love to give a shout out to my current patrons, Sharetastic and Trovarian. Honestly, you guys have been in my corner since the very beginning. I don't know how you put up with my ass, but I'm grateful for it nonetheless. So here's my reminder for my eternal love for you both. You guys absolutely fucking rock. Love you both. Mwah. And if you're still watching by some miracle here, thank you. Oh my god, thank you so much for watching this far into the video. You are also simply amazing. You have my love. And I wish I could give you an ETA for the next video. I honestly just do not have a production pipeline made yet because, I still work full-time. But I do know that I am working on it, so I will just give a vague soon. Until then, though, I hope you guys have a great time. Stay hydrated, eat well, get some sleep. I know you guys deserve it. Please, take care of yourselves in the meantime. I don't really have anything else here to, end the video, but I love you. Thank you guys again for watching. Bye!
Space!